Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. Welcome back to everybody who's already a subscriber to the show. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe on YouTube so you can see more great videos like the one coming up now. We've got a very exciting first-time guest of the show, about ready to make his MMA debut for 247 Fighting Championships. Brawl in the Burgh 21 on April 20th at the Hollywood Casino at the Meadows. Fighting out of PA Combat Sports is Clay Duncan. Clay, welcome to the show.
How you doing? Thanks for having me on, Luke. Means a lot.
It's absolutely an honor having you on the show. We mentioned it before we started recording that PA Combat Sports, your gym representing, was voted the new gym of the year at the 2023 247 award. So it's really burst on the local MMA scene in the last year. Of course, you'll probably be a big part of that going forward. I already introduced the fact that you've got your debut coming up against another debuter April 20th, but let's back up. Give us a history on Clay Duncan as far as your sports background before MMA, and then we'll transition into MMA.
So I grew up playing every sport you can imagine, starting with wrestling when I was probably about 5 years old. I did that till I was in middle school, and I pretty much did a different sport every season. My parents were pretty strict on having me be a well-rounded athlete. I did football, basketball, baseball, a little bit of hockey. And then once I got out of school, I always tried to lift weights and stay in shape, and have always been a fan of MMA. So I kind of started leaning into that a little bit, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Sure. What led you to PA Combat Sports? How long have you been training there? And give us a little bit of like what it was like picking up MMA. You're obviously a talented natural athlete with a lot of variety. And if there's one thing that 5 or 6 sports will do is lend to MMA, where there's 5 or 6, maybe even more martial arts crammed in to one sport. It's a sport that you can be training forever because of all the variety. But talk about how you got connected to PA Combat Sports. What was it like making the transition? Who did you first meet? What was the first sparring session or training like? Was it kind of overwhelming? Was it exciting? Did you get submitted and think, man, this is great? Or like, give us the breakdown of what that was like.
So basically, it just kind of snowballed. I didn't have any intentions on competing when I first joined the gym. I just kind of wanted to learn the foundation of mixed martial arts itself. I just started off doing striking, really trying to work on one foundation at a time. I did that for about a year and a half to 2 years. And then I did a little bit of Muay Thai competing. I fought on the Stout Muay Thai card. And I always had this idea that I wanted to do MMA once I got into competing. So I started supplementing jiu-jitsu and trying to be more well-rounded. Did a couple tournaments, won a couple gold medals, got my blue belt, and then it'll actually be a year I got my blue belt on the night of the fight. So about a year about a year with that, I figured it was time to put everything together and get the cage, and that's how we got here. As far as my first sparring session and kind of getting into the competition mindset, I'm not gonna lie, it was very brutal. You get humbled a lot, not knowing really about the fight aspects. And then once you get in there with somebody who's been training for a while, you realize, wow, I really have to put a lot of time into this and be really dedicated if I want to compete and do well. So
Yeah, and obviously you got that mindset. Have you been able to watch live MMA, particularly some of your fighters? And what has that been like being able to watch? Because you got a lot of very early amateurs. They're looking good, but you got a lot of early amateurs coming out of your gym. So what has that been like? I know, they've been fighting for 247. So what has that experience been like going to a regional MMA show of 247, watching some of your guys in there? And do you remember some of the fights you were able to watch?
Shout out to Mike Rattani and Jaden Blake, two of my teammates who are veterans of the 247 cage. Watching them helped a lot, just seeing the atmosphere, the walkout, kind of how everything goes and operates. Because, even though I've competed in some other events, every event is run differently. So the vibes were crazy there. Everybody's super hyped. I just know it's going to be an awesome time whenever fight night comes. Um, yeah, that's about it. Just watching them kind of gave me an idea of what to expect. So that kind of helped a little bit.
Great. And you mentioned fight night. When fight night gets here, we've said that it's April 20th. Let's get to your thoughts on it. You told us why this was the time because it's a year from when you got your blue belt. You've been developing all the other martial arts. What are your thoughts on Jaden Robertson? He's making his debut. You're making a debut. What are your thoughts on this fight just about 2.5 weeks away?
I'm very excited about it. You know, shout out to him and his camp. Nothing but respect for him stepping up, doing what he needs to do to get to the cage and have this dance with me. Obviously, I'm confident in my abilities and want to see my hand get raised at the end of the night, and that's kind of what I'm predicting. If I didn't feel that way, I shouldn't even be in the cage in the first place. I don't have any like exact predictions about how the fight's gonna go. I'm confident wherever it may lead, being on the feet or on the ground, and I'm just hoping to get a dominant win and go from there.
That is great, great mindset, great attitude. For people that may not know, you can get tickets directly from Clay or from the gym or from 247fighting.com where you give credit to Clay so that he gets some of that percentage. And also, this is a double header event, April 19th, same location is Sprawl in the Burgh. They just announced today. Brawl in the Burgh traditionally has been a no-gi grappling event inside the cage. It'll be predominantly no-gi with one announced gi match, plus, of course, the next night, Clay and everybody else is going to be doing MMA. It's really a great opportunity. If you have to come in from out of the area for it, the casino is obviously a fantastic venue and a place to stay overnight. If you're close, give Clay a support. I would assume. Do you have some PA combat sports athletes representing in Sprawl? Because I know you do have a jiu-jitsu program.
We do not. I've been kind of bugging some of my coaches and higher belt guys in the gym, just kind of giving them a little nudge, like, hey, you know, if they do some grappling events, you should jump on there. So I'm gonna keep bugging them till I annoy them to the point where they just sign up anyway. So
Keep going. Make sure you're especially annoying to Justin Bensema, who's recently been a black belt. I know he's competed at, I think, Stout and several other events. I mean, I know he's a competitive guy. We're just joking when we say he doesn't want to compete because obviously we know he does. But I've known him since his college days at Waynesburg University. It would be a great honor to see him inside the 247 cage for my own excitement and enjoyment of watching people develop in the sport. It's one of the reasons why I'm connected 247, honored to be connected 247. And also one of the reasons why I do this channel. It's just great seeing people develop. So hats off and shout out to Justin Benson. It would be great to see him. I remember when he was a senior, he was an incredible lacrosse player. And, you know, a lot of lacrosse players, he was whatever it is when you're the striker, the scorer. I think it's called striker. And a lot of them would try to, you know, get around and do a lot of fancy feet. I'm sure he had footwork, but his method was just go right through and everybody's beating on him and he just kept right going through. And I remember one time I was hanging out with him after one of his matches and he was just covered in welts and bruises. And that was right in his senior year. And then he brought up that he was going to get into jiu-jitsu, which he started right out of college. And if that's the mindset he had coming into it, it's been great to see him now as a coach of you coming out of PA Combat Sports. All the best to everybody there, particularly Justin. So it's been great having you on. I can't wait to see both back-to-back events. They've already announced some things for the June card, and there was an announcement today that Lucas the Sniper Siebert, he's going to be matched, and he's now going to be fighting an unnamed fighter that's going to be announced at the Sprawl card. So everything's coming together, and of course, can't wait to have you on in the future, Clay. Thanks so much for coming on. You've been listening to Luke Basin for MMA Fancast with Clay Duncan out of PA Combat Sports, making his MMA debut for 247 Fighting Championships. Brawl in the Burgh 21, April 20th. Get your tickets now. They will sell out. Thanks so much, Clay, for coming on.
thanks for having me, Luke. Looking forward to seeing you fight night.
You got it, brother. It'll be great to meet you then. Take care.
Have a good